Alrighty then, mate. Welcome. Today we're gonna be doing a science mode playthrough, which will be good. It'll hopefully be quite an interesting experience. I haven't tried science mode in quite a while, so this will be fun. Of course, not in caps lock. Do science mode, normal difficulty options, and we'll just go from there, mate. Alright, starting out in VAB, you might notice we have quite a few, many less parts than normal. You might notice, lacking a lot of the parts we normally have access to, there's not a lot we can really do. Of course we can make this goofy looking thing, but that's really about it. Now, one thing that is going to be more useful in this playthrough than others is, of course, what should we call it? Obviously, science pieces, because the way you progress in science mode is, of course, collecting science. So, the way you do that, you run an experiment, and it'll give you a certain amount of science. You can then keep that, do a crew report and things, which is another type of science experiment. Take all this, and all of this can be done just from the launch pad. Alright? So all of that science is just completely free. We didn't even have to do anything there. We just ran some science experiments, which is lovely. See, 15 science earned. Once you have science, you're then going to go into the research and development building. From here, you can purchase different parts. So, we're going to go down the research and development tree, along with the basic rocketry tree. And those are both going to get us closer and closer to being able to go to more and more different places to collect science. Now, as you probably saw, we can go on a little bit of an actual expedition now, which is very fun. What we're going to find ourselves doing is taking all these parts, and we're simply going to go up and then come back down. That's all we got to do. We're going to tilt over towards the right, and what that's going to do is that's going to put us in the water over there. Of course, fast staging was right. And being in the water is going to be good. That's technically a new biome that we can get science from. So you see we come up. I forgot to add fins to this, but it's okay. I'm going to be tilting. not too far. We do want to get some height. As you can see, this motor is very powerful for our rocket. It's actually accelerating us very, very, very quickly. There we can disconnect. We'll time warp up to our highest point. I don't think we'll quite leave the atmosphere, I guess we'll see. We will not be leaving the atmosphere, which is actually a good thing because we don't have any heat shields. It is unlikely that we would survive re-entry. Now, from here, while we're going our slowest, we'll get you out, we'll do an EVA report, get back on board, we'll take our temperature, mystery goo, crew report, all giving us very valuable science. And then we can just time warp back down. Then we're going to accelerate towards the Earth. And now, as you can see, we got more science from that. It's because we went to a more difficult location to get to. So of course other planets and things are going to give much, much more science. Now, as we go down, we've reached a nice safe speed to be traveling that we should be able to deploy our parachute. Surprisingly, that splashdown did not kill us. I don't know how quick we were moving there, but the parachute did not fully deploy. Either way, wouldn't worry about it. We can now observe this again. We can do a different temperature reading, EVA, and we can take a surface sample. Board, and then recover the vessel. As you can see here, this gave us a lot more science. And you'll actually notice the most valuable thing was the surface sample. So this is what's going to be real valuable when we go to other planets. We can get the surface sample and things. And that's going to give us a whole boatload of science. From here, we can go back in, and you'll notice this particular tech tree has a lot of science experiments. And these are going to give a higher and higher yield if as we go along. So the more expensive the science experiment, such as the Science Junior, the better that pot is going to be for doing research. You'll actually notice this is very achievable. So I'll go ahead, I'll get stability, because that one gives us the decoupler. And then we'll go ahead, we'll revamp this one just a little bit. Take some of our fuel tanks, and take some more fuel tanks. We're actually going to go to orbit this time, I reckon. If we have heat shields, we might not. We do. I figured we did. Take a heat shield, go there. We don't want that shroud. We'll take our other science experiments. This one right here. Chuck that one right on. And we'll keep it moving. Now, from here, we'll go ahead, we'll add another decoupler. We'll go for another very similar stage to this, except without the decoupler. And we'll chuck on a couple of these bad boys. And look at that. That is pretty much all you need to get into orbit. It also has a very, very, very great shape. You know, very great shape. And I got logged out of my account. Let me go ahead and see if I can fix the chat, just in case anyone's typed at all. Doesn't look like anyone has, but I will still go ahead and re-log in just to try and fix that. And then from here, hey, it doesn't look like the thing got split up, which is lovely. Finger cam, why does your mic sound like that? I see. So this game isn't just a sandbox. Too fast, go, what was that? Great shape, huh? Your mic sounds like the Amazon rainforest. My bad, what about it sounds like the Amazon rainforest? I don't know. Is it my fans? It may well be my fans. Does it sound wet? Does it sound like someone licking the mic ASMR? Is that what it sounds like? Either way. For real? Alright. Either way. What we're gonna do, we're gonna launch this, and we're gonna try and take it into orbit this time. So we're gonna perform our gravity turn, which is why we have this swivel on the bottom so we can actually control it. And of course, the staging is wrong. Where even... I guess we're going straight up. Thank you, game, for not letting me let me control my freaking rocket, dude. We may or may not be reaching orbit this time. Our gravity turn was severely delayed because of that mishap. Please let me point prograde. Please let me point. Thank you. And the idea behind burning like this is because to enter an orbit, you need a particular amount of velocity moving horizontally. Yes, it is supposed to be tilted. And I don't think we're gonna quite make it to orbit. We definitely won't see. Yeah, we don't even make it nearly all the way there. So we're just going to approach space, which is going to be 70 kilometers and above. So there we are. I'm going to quickly take good old Jebediah out here, do an EVA report, and then he can board back up. We can do a crew report, mystery goo. Now we're actually in space. Log pressure data from space. Jebediah? Yeah, that's his name. It's Jeb. Alright, there we go. In space. Lovely. All of that stuff. That's going to give us a fair bit more science. And then we can get another round of science from wherever we land, which may well end up being a new biome. I'm not entirely sure. It doesn't look like it. But I suppose we'll see. This time we'll try and avoid crashing into the ocean at like 50 meters per second like we did last time. So we will abandon ship early. And we can actually do another cool thing once we're moving slow enough. Jeb also has a parachute. Isn't that cool? He can fly his own parachute. Although, of course, we want to stay near the craft because it has all of our science experiments. But either way, lovely soft landing. You can take another surface sample. It's not going to give us much because we've already done it. And we can just go for a nice little swim over towards our actual craft, which is a little bit glitchy from the waves, but how does Jeb swim? He has very little arms. Very little arms. Either way, we'll log pressure from down here because we haven't actually done that yet. We didn't have this experiment when we were first in the water. Either way, we recover vessel. We didn't quite make it to orbit that time because our gravity turn got a bit delayed, but this next time we will make it to orbit. Mainly, I was just holding off to get that Science Junior from the research lab, but as you can see there, we got a whopping 83 science units, so we have lots and lots of technology points. Now, down here, now that we have basic science, EVA experiments is going to be nice. Batteries will be not that useful, I don't imagine. So we'll probably go for miniaturization because it means we can take this extra experiments kit with us. And I believe that is the next science experiment we can get. Under precision engineering, we get, I guess, all of the weapons, but we also get some better antennas. Probably should have removed this mod before the before science mode. Yeah, so we don't get much from this. So miniaturization doesn't offer us much other than the docking port and the EVA experiments kit. Really, where is the next science experiment? Surface scanning, atmospheric fluid. Yeah, so here we go, we want to go for this. And for this we do actually need miniaturization, so that's what we're going to be aiming for next. Before then, we'll get general rocketry, which will give us this nicer engine. So we'll take that, go into the VAB, we'll plot an actual orbit mission. So, take a new craft, get this. From here, we're actually going to use this service bay, which we can stick underneath. And then along with that, we'll take this Science Junior. Underneath that, we'll put our heat shield. And from here, we can put together our we can put together our actual experiments bay. We'll take this little storage container so that we can store a bunch of experiments. We're actually going to do 2 of each experiment yet again because we're doing hopefully both high orbit and regular orbit. Then we can close this up. I am so laggy, I dearly apologize. We'll get some more parachutes here, and we're gonna need more this time because our craft is a lot heavier, having all this extra stuff on the bottom. And then we'll also go ahead, if we can't get a splashdown, we'll chuck some of these on here. Although I do hope I don't need to use them, because they may well burn up in the atmosphere. You might notice, for now, the names are very boring, because they're very generic missions that we're going on. That will change eventually. From here, we can actually begin building our lower stage, which is going to consist of, which engines do we have? Okay. Going to consist of this Relent engine here. We'll go ahead, chuck another separator, and then under here we'll put this swivel engine, which will give us a little bit more control. The special thing about the swivel engine is it has what we call thrust vectoring, or gimbal, and what that's going to do, what is your main goal? Unlock the whole tech tree, travel out into the universe, you know, fun stuff like that. The main goal is, I would say, visit as many planets as possible. That's what I'd say. For some people, the main goal is just unlock the whole tech tree, but, you know, I feel like visiting planets is more fun. I like visiting planets. What a lovely specimen this is. What a delicious craft. From here, we can fix our staging this time, and actually do things when we want to. The idea is we're going to go into an eccentric orbit, so our apoapsis is going to be very high, which would be considered high orbit. I'm actually going to search up what is considered high Kerbal orbit, and then you can be getting stuff from there. So it is 250 kilometers. So we're aiming for an apoapsis of above 250 kilometers and a periapsis of above 70 kilometers, which is going to put us in a stable orbit but very eccentric. But that's not going to matter too much because, as we said, we have that heat shield and these little drogue chutes right here, which are these red ones. Those are going to help us slow down because we're going to be traveling very, very quickly. From here we can actually begin our gravity turn a little bit early because we do have some slightly limited control of this craft. Plop down a quick save. And good lord, this thing is not very easy to control. The fortunate thing about using these solid rocket motors is they do pack quite a punch. Okay, you hit my engine, I appreciate that. So now that we're in orbit, we're just going to coast up into the atmosphere. Well, into the upper atmosphere, I should say. You better keep Jeb alive. I will do my darndest. From here, we'll expand it, and really, we don't even have enough to get to orbit, even with this, using the Relent engine. That's a stable orbit. It does not think we have enough, and it's probably because we freaking obliterated our lowest stage. Might not have been ideal. I may need to add more stages in case that happens again. I do wish we could have fuel lines at this point, because I would most certainly be building asparagus staged crafts. But I do trust the maneuver node tracker on this. I don't think we'll actually get into orbit, which is very unfortunate. We will definitely need to do some optimization, even just of those solid fuel motors, we can reduce the thrust limiter on them. Because the unfortunate thing about those, yeah, this is useless. The unfortunate thing about those is you can't control the thrust of them in flight. That's the trade-off. You can set the thrust when you're in the VAB, but once you launch, there's nothing you can do to change it, which contributes to their unwieldiness. But alas, we'll do our best. From here, I guess we'll also add some more fuel to the upper stage just to make sure we can get into high Kerbal orbit instead of just low Kerbal orbit. You'll see here we're gonna enter this orbit. It should be eccentric. That's the goal. The goal is a fairly eccentric orbit. As you can see this time, a much smoother lift off the launch pad because of that reduced thrust coming from these. You can see they're draining a lot slower as well, which is going to give us a much more efficient path into orbit, because the more you accelerate and the lower... Oh, have fun, Coop. Enjoy whatever you go to do. I don't think we're making it to the moon anytime soon, so I don't think you'll be missing out on much. But as you can see, accelerating much slower this way. We're going to be wasting less energy just producing drag in the lower atmosphere, which is going to let us get a much more efficient apoapsis and things, because we're not just wasting a whole heap of energy, especially while we're still partaking in our gravity turn. Either way, our apoapsis is now above 70 kilometers. So from here we'll warp up. We'll go ahead, we'll make that maneuver node just to check, give us a little bit of insight. You see we do have to stage pretty early on. I feel like this takes a lot more than it did in career mode, but that's also probably because I had access to much better rocketry. Yeah, we're cutting it kind of close here, so I suppose we'll see. We want to leave about 20 seconds for this burn. And then from there we'll complete the burn. Fortunately, the Relent engine is much more efficient than the swivel engine. You can see that we have a mere 100 meters per second left, so we're not going to do that eccentric orbit, 250 kilometers, high Kerbal orbit type of deal, unfortunately. But we will definitely be getting all of this orbit science, which is still ideal. 25 science just from that one experiment, pretty decent. We will log the pressure. Doesn't do anything for us, so we'll know not to worry about that in the future. I guess because we've already been in this area of space, so it doesn't really care. Yeah, wow. Alright. Is it the same for Jeb in orbit? It is. Alright. Jeez, that beep. Either way, once we, oh, you need a scientist. Disgusting. Whatever. We won't be able to reuse that because we didn't bring a scientist with us, but so be it. You can see there we nearly tipped over because there's a lot of drag in the upper area because of this big structure, and of course the landing legs having that drag so low down is going to make it want to put the drag at the very back. This is what caused us a very near flip incident. But fortunately, with how shallow our path of descent is, it shouldn't cause SAS too many issues trying to maintain our alignment, at least being mostly retrograde. And as you can see here, it's a good thing we added those landing legs, because we are definitely looking like we're going to be landing on some ground here. And go ahead and drop that heat shield. And then as we get closer, we can of course go ahead and deploy our main chutes, which are going to slow us down quite a bit more. Even without landing legs, we'd probably be fine because we added so many parachutes to this. But of course, maybe with just the one parachute coming in at a much higher speed, the landing legs probably wouldn't handle all that. Either way, we are actually in a new biome here, so I can go ahead, take a surface sample, do an EVA report, do a crew report even, which is going to get us at least a little bit of science, and then same with the pressure and everything, that's actually going to get us some science this time. There we go. Lovely. From here, what we can do is we can recover the vessel. And although we may not gain even as much as we did last time on our first area to space, yeah, there we go. We didn't really gain that much from this. It should still hopefully be enough to afford... It's not enough to afford miniaturization, but it is enough to afford advanced rocketry, which will give us this Terrier engine right here. This is very important. Advanced construction, avionics, flight control. Yeah, we want advanced construction right here. Research. This is going to give us access, mainly the Terrier engine is what we care about, but also these wider fuel tanks. After that, we probably want heavy rocketry, because this is what's going to give us those larger pods that'll let us... The Poodle, as well, is a good engine for a deep space and things. And after that, we can get fuel systems, which is this external fuel type. Very, very helpful, because it allows you to do asparagus staging. You can see that we also have a battery, which is going to be useful. It's going to let us control the craft more without necessarily running the engines, which have an alternator in them, which is going to be extremely helpful, especially when we actually start doing things in space. For this one, we are going to have a very similar science setup, and I'll actually make sure I go ahead and put a scientist on board this one. So we'll have, I think it's Bob Kerman, which means we only need one of each experiment. And then down here, go ahead and do that. We can add a heat shield, and from here we'll go ahead, get our coupling, and we'll add our fuel. Lovely thing now is we have this fucking thing. You'll notice the specific impulse is much higher. It's going to give us more efficiency in the vacuum of space, because of course the way a rocket engine works, the point of having that bell nozzle on the bottom, you'll notice they're different shapes and sizes. It's going to change how efficient they are at different altitudes, because they work based on the fact that half of it is this cone shape and the other half is atmospheric pressure pushing it back down, which is why you get almost that oval or teardrop shape out of those engines. Either way, from here we can add our bottom stage, which is going to be a much more efficiently organized craft, because of course we can now use these more specialized parts, we'll call them. We'll chuck some thumpers on there for our actual control, which means we can use a relent here. And the thrust limit on these will be 50, just so that we can get more bang for our buck out of our relent without so just relent, yeah. Is that reliant? Oh, it is reliant, I just can't read. Either way, we'll get these huge solid fuel boosters again. Go ahead, chuck on a nose cone. We'll grab some fins. And we will also, we don't need a battery. From here we can reduce our thrust limiter a bit, like so. And then organize our staging. When I find that I want to start my turn, I'm actually going to add a separate stage for those, just so we can spend as little time burning with them as possible, because they are much less efficient. And lovely, our staging looks all nice and organized. The idea here, we need a scientist, which is what's going to let us... It's Bob, yeah. Bill is the engineer, right. Having a scientist is going to let us use that science storage box and reset a bunch of our experiments. And that resetting of the experiments is going to be real useful, because it's going to it's going to let us perform a bunch of different kinds of experiments while only having one of each on board, so we can reuse them over and over again as we move between different biomes, which is going to be real helpful. We're going to make use of those thumper engines to start our gravity turn. And then, as these solid rocket motors run out, we can detach them. I'm actually going to throttle up as they run out, just so I can avoid hitting them. And we can drop it right back down, because we've now reached apoapsis. I will independently shut these down, because I don't want to be using them at all if I can help it. From here, we do our apoapsis. It's going to come out. We're actually going to make it a decent... Wow, is that actually not enough to get... Do we have a less delta V in this craft? No, you must be joking. We have more than 2,000 units of delta V. You know what, mate? I want to see how high I can get. Because I'm pretty sure I can get my apoapsis above 250,000 kilometers. And really, that's all that matters. We don't care about actually getting into a stable... Well, actually, we might... Well, we'll see. We'll see. We'll see. It'll depend. Might actually make it easier to get into a stable orbit if we have a higher apoapsis. See that we detach, and then we're gonna continue increasing our apoapsis until we get above 250,000. We'll stop. From here, ladder maneuver. Doesn't look like we'll quite be able to get there. Yeah, we don't have enough delta V. But being in high orbit and all, we should be able to get some very valuable science out of it. So we can actually just attach that now, I suppose, and get on with it. Don't need to be doing physics time warp. We can do actual time warp up until we get above that 250 EVA. EVA report. Yeah, there we go. Get back in. Do a crew report. Open this up. Conduct a material study with the Science Junior. Log pressure. There we go. Log pressure. Temperature. There we go. You can see we're getting quite a bit more science because this is further away from Kerbal. 15 science. Lovely. I think that's the most we've gotten from a mystery goo experiment thus far. Either way, from here, we're just gonna let it run its course and take us down. We want to be pointing retrograde. I don't think it's gonna hold that on its own, will it? It might. No, it will not. Retrograde. Please and thank you. Please and thank you. Okay, don't explode. Don't revert flight fully. Just go back here, and I'll get Bill to move the science, Bill. Transfer data into here. Remove data. Thank you. Just in case that blows up. Please don't overheat. Please don't overheat. Don't kill Bill. Don't kill Bill. Don't kill Bill. Please don't kill Bill. Please don't overheat my parachutes. That will also indirectly kill Bill. As soon as you're moving slow enough, please. Okay. Welp. How are we not dead? We're moving up very slowly through the water. Let me cut these parachutes. We don't need them. What in the world? How did we survive that? It's also very dark. I don't like it. While moving over the surface. Let me quick save. Well then, EVA. If you take a surface sample, is it worth anything? Yeah, just a little bit. Either way, recover vessel. I said recover vessel. Thank you. Lovely. 137 science. That is a decent amount. And it should be enough to at least hopefully get us, yeah, heavy rocketry and things. We can only afford one, so we want to be a little bit particular about which we get. I think heavy rocketry does make the most sense. Miniaturization is a good option for the EVA experiments kit, but if we can't get anywhere new, it's not going to matter. So, we'll get that. We'll get into the VAB, and we'll move on. I think that'll probably do it for today. Not really feeling this at the moment, but we will be continuing it in the very near future.